優勝。毎度のことながら音量設定が面倒くさいですね。これぐらいかな。もう始まってんのかなこれ。リードになるほど、わからん。8。動画。ビデオ映像にキーワードを追加する。必要があるのかな？お前に来てくれない。手前に置きたいんだがな。検索。とりあえずこれ見ろってことだろうな。2つしかないのか。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help? Yeah, that's me. But February, I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
日付とかも関係あるのかな？
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other, just that. Stories. Yeah, that's me. But February, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
「ゴミ箱」なんじゃこりゃ。一人で遊ぶの。こんなことをしているんだろう。なぜそんなことを。これなんか意味あるの？が変なのがいるんだよね。なんか変なノイズが入るんだよ。何で一人でオセロやってんだろう。頭おかしなるで。おかしいな。こんなことをするはずでは。 グレースハック。これなんだろう。何にも関係ないってことはないだろうな。1個のファイルが見つかりません。
ブラックくん、多分面白いやつ。
多分ね。さて、これログオフしたらどうなるんだ。終わっちゃったよ。時計はそのものなのか。フェイス、じゃあですね。君の太ももから
検索検索。
とにかく検索する。あれ？これ履歴か。まあこれでも見られるし。口頭で出ないんだから出ないだろう。
ブラックくん、光反射してるのね。
そういうことだね。インターネットじゃないので。動画見つからないな。 何も出てこないじゃないか。思ってたより何も出てこないな。じゃあ出てくるよね。
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work, mirror making, feature windows, artistic things, really beautiful things.
どんな動画撮っとくかい。ちょっと女も必要だな、このゲーム。メモ。会社の名前なんだっけ？
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work, mirror making, feature windows, artistic things, really beautiful things. 'It's the Rockington Arms, The Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks. It's the Rockington Arms, The Rock. Yes, there's an Amstrad one. No one uses it for very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games. You know, climb the tower, save the princess.
サイモンゲーム。
That kind of thing. Simon
関係ない動画も入ってるんだろうな。
to run off or do anything crazy. Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next?
アクセスできるのは最初から5番目まで。そうか。なんだ、この役に立たねえデータベース。
I love him so much. Simon. Yes, there's an.
なんか意味あるのかわかんないけど。ドットコム。違う違う。同じかな？
Simon Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do.
まだ見てないのあるね。
So, it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job, but he didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come see you. His parents haven't heard anything either. Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I guess the Rock. We've spoken to everyone there. Someone must have seen where he went. I don't know. So many things could have gone wrong.
No. どういうことだろう。
No. I think he spoke to Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said. He likes Helen. He likes blondes.
関係ない。いっぱい出るね。これはエリック君が臭いよ。
He was wearing a shirt, a blue turtleneck shirt and jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric. He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the
エリ
house.
ックは上司なのか。
Yes, there's a car that we share, a Cavalier, and a van he uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it. Both of them are there now, parked on the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I get back. Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa, a silver one.
NNNI
He doesn't like to
Konnichiwa.
spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash.
ランチは、
Eric convinced him to get one.
こんにちは。
Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
人がいっぱい出てくるな。なんだ。何でギター持
Diane
っ
is
てんだ。
really nice. She helps out with the Glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids. She used to look out for me when I worked there. Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year.
時計が出てきた。
It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steam. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then. Not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diane is a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off Ceefax, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel? Simon and Eric arguing? No, I can't imagine they'd be arguing. And they get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
Ryan だけだと一食。これでちょっと出てる。
Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. But he wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly in the living room. Nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see
まだい
him.
るの。
That enough?
これは何回必要素材。
It's the
こ
rock
れ
in
なんだっ
the
け？
arms. The rock. Okay. I parked up on the street.
あれ？
It was busy, so I parked down the end of the road. I walked up to the house, I knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag, unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. I could tell because the key wouldn't turn when I tried to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes on the shoe rack.
同
I
じ
shouted
話してる。
out for him. I walked straight into the kitchen. He usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly into the living room. Nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom. He wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric, his boss. I didn't answer it. Then I came out and I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, but I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. I spoke to him. Then I called Simon's parents. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
同じ話だよな。何か違ったのか。
And the Glaziers. I worked there some weekends and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children. Simon was quiet, more thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship. Wasn't always rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most of the time. You know? Plus he had that look. He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books.
精神状態大丈夫か。この時計のアプリなんか意味あんのかな？ああ。見たことあるビデオが埋まるのか。時計。
It happened very quickly.
そういえば。
We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone.
死んどるやんけ。
We cellar. We knew we had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck.
なんか音楽は。
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present, another mirror, just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
なんか怖い。これ消せないのかな？なんか
My name is Hannah. H-A-N-N-A-H. It's Pandre. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work if you mirror it though, it's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith, I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
怖いわ。調べてる人が映ってんだね。
My name is Hannah. H-A-N-N-A-H. It's Pandre. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work if you mirror it though, it's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith, I live at 31 Gladstone Street. It wasn't the present so much, it was one of those arguments that had been simmering for a while. The present was a mirror, a nice mirror. He'd engraved the glass, the kind of mirror a princess would have in a story. He made it specially for me. His body didn't look real. And his throat. It looked like his throat had been cut.
コメント欄の花。エンディングあるのかなこのゲーム。
Has these thick
ゼファーに
glasses. It doesn't always work.
アフコンチャ
The mirror.
コンチは
I
す。
can't remember. I put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I think. I haven't looked at it since.
鏡はやっぱり重要なんでしょうね。なんかさ、割と早めにたどり着いてしまったんだろうか。
Yeah. I've been round to Doug and
ミス
Eleanor's
君、
and
猫とも猫とも。
I feel sorry for them.
これが猫に見えるかね。
Yeah. I've been round to Doug and Eleanor's and they're very
なんで誰か
worried.
見えなかった。
I feel sorry for them. I got a job to contribute, you know. Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids. So you see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us. There's always been pressure.
両親。
I hoover, I dust every week, maybe less. I once asked Eleanor how often I should dust, and she said, if people ask, tell them you do it once a week, but every few weeks is okay. I think she was just trying to make me feel better. I mean, when I was there, she was hoovering every day, ran an ordered house. You know how that generation is, putting on a brave front. She has secret stashes of cigarettes. Doug doesn't even know she smokes. When I was there, I saw her. She has these sort of porcelain vases, ornamental, next to the Reader's Digest books. Cigarettes inside. And she still has them. I mean, last time I was there, I looked in a vase. There was a fresh pack. I mean, all those years of marriage. And she still has a secret like that. Yeah. 1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents died in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat
あ、死ん
wave.
でるのか。
So when they discovered the bodies, it was just awful. Because of the circumstances, them dying together like that, they brought in a lot of police. A forensic entomologist. I had to look that up. It was because of the heat. It was just awful.
Ah, 変わったゲームね。
I speak with Eleanor at least once a day.
そうだね。
Not that there's anything much to say. It's more just
重要そうなキーワードで検索してってよ。何かと思った。事件の真相を解き明かす。これいらないやつ。なんだっけね。サイレントヒル作った人は作ったって見たら書いてあったよ。
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first. That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit. But he was sexy. We were 15.
血液来たくもない話を。
No,
別に聞きたくも
I
ない
was 15. Carl was older, 17, I think. I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. Stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months.
私たち
It
っ
was
てなんだ
sad. Yeah. Those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family. Family. So, Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon. Differences?
でもここで出てく
She's a
る
better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the car. Learned that you can't rely on confidence to get you through.
あれか
She is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy,
双子なのかな
I would pursue him. It was that way with Carl.
多重人格
Hannah met him first. She had such a crush.
ああそうだ
I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at.
ウィス君
It got
双
difficult.
子の縫い合わせ
When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but
やめなさい
Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of excuses. After a while,
多重人
we
格なの
decided
か
that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that
そっ
different.
か
A bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush. After that, we took it in turns, though. I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon.
それと事件関係あるのか
Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous, didn't want to share. Even the first date. We went to see Tom Cruise at the Old Odeon. We both went, kept changing places in the toilet. We only had the one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes. Must have thought we had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss me. But that was it. We didn't want another Carl on our hands, and the Ouija board had said to hold back. After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him. Broke the rules. Deliberately broke the rules. She wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got pregnant. From that one time.
一時なんか映るのが怖い
I
い
got in
っ
the
ぱいある
car
な
and I drove. And just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
男っぽいな
I got to Glasgow, I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back. No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning. When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
S&B って誰なんだろう。
リス君、SB 食品。
まあそうなるよね。
アフ、SB 食品株式会社は、カレー、香辛料などを製造、販売する日本の大手加工食品メーカーである。
そこまで聞いてねえわ。
日本で国産カレー粉を初めて販売した会社とされているが、移設もある。
いや。このゲームがなんで入ってるのかがわかんねえんだよな。難解にやると思うんだけどな。顔面を真っ赤にしてみる。あれ？休み取れないかな？取れた。 何も起きないな。これ検索したよね。それじゃあどれ？何でも関係なさそうな。どうでも良さそうなワードから。潰していく。いっぱいあるな。
I got pregnant. Both our parents had a
それ
big
さっき聞い
powwow.
た。
We weren't even in the room, and they decided we should get married. We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope. No, I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months. We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after.
ああ、そっか。紙コップが2つあるから。
Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. The miscarriage and
こっ
then
ちが花かな？
my parents.
なんだと？
No, no one has been in the last few weeks. We had a plumber come in 3-4 weeks ago. Someone sang with you from the rock. Yes. We'd fight. We fought on the beach once and I held Eve's head underwater. There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach and I held her head under and I kept it under. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her and watch her drown. But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up after. It was a love-hate relationship. No. I've had enough coffee for today, thanks. Glass of water.
この動画なんやねん。
You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay. Probably needs tuning. No. It's okay. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street.
何を見せられているんだ。
Sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. See, they both had a love for the captain's son.Oh, the wind and the rain, but he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, the eldest envied her sister fair. Oh, the wind and the rain, with a pretty little face and her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain.She pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. Oh, the dreadful son. Oh, the wind and the rain. Father dear, here swims and swan. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And then it gets really weird, so I think that's a good place to stop.
もう大体わかっちゃってるけど。
Black coffee, thanks. No sugar. I'm sweet enough as it is. Black, no sugar. Thanks. Black, no sugar. Thanks.
7月1日14時20分。
Black coffee, thanks. No
あ、
sugar.
違うな。
Sweet enough as it is.
日付は違うのか。
About 8 years back. It was a present to myself. I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby. It's been hard trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup.
カフェイン中毒。
No. I've had enough coffee for today, thanks. Glass of water. No. No, Simon didn't play guitar. He wasn't very musical. He liked to listen, but he was tone deaf. Yes. Yeah, it's my guitar.
どういうことやねん。オフレコとは。シールが売ってる。 この一瞬で入れ替わっている。
Let me see. Yes. I drove in here because I remember well, I went over the river. And then there was a church there. Yeah. And I probably parked. Well, I remember seeing a street sign called Princess Street. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it must be this one. There. Okay, you got me. I'll confess. We were there. It was a dirty weekend. Simon was going to expense it, pretend it was a business trip. I used a made-up name. We stayed at the hotel, had room service, didn't leave the room, had a great view of the river, and you could hear the church bells. Like you said, it was very romantic.
「ほとんどわかっているんだけど」
It was supposed to be a secret. Just because Simon is dead doesn't mean I have to give up all his secrets. It doesn't have anything to do with what happened to Simon. No one murdered my husband because he cheated his expenses for a romantic weekend in Oxford. When we weren't together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book, the knock code, something prisoners of war would use. We'd tap them out on radiator pipes or the attic floor. But they couldn't find any. Bought a cat anyway. No, they were shut. Most of the windows were really hard to open anyway. They're stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. Or there's a cat flap in the back door. No, no cat. My parents had a cat before they died called Domino. It was this little black thing with white dots. And we never did anything about the cat flap, but if you were thin, you could maybe squeeze through it. This other person doesn't exist. I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. And we had our own words for things.
なんかエラーで見せ。
She didn't quite understand them anyway.
映像が途切れたみたいだな。音楽川。なんだかな。
There was a conference, something to do with double glazing. In Oxford? Are you sure? What would he be doing in Oxford if there was no conference? I remember calling him. He said it was boring and he spent most of the time at the bar.
半分以上見てない。
A mobile phone?
何か電話鳴ってたよ。
Well, they have one for the glaziers, but it's only for work. I can't remember the number. Oh, it's in the kitchen. I saw it plugged into its charging cradle. Sure. Yes, of course, if that would help. Will you phone the house to let me know when you want to come round? Then I can make sure that I'm there. I mean, I don't know. Something must have happened to him on his way home. He could be hurt. I mean, why hasn't he phoned? I don't know. It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Sam's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed, and I never had the heart to throw out.
地下室。
I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags. Pulled them open, saw the body. I screamed, and that's when I called the police.
「やたらフレームがどうしたんだがな。
Yes. I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back. Me and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, the dollhouse in the attic, old things. We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there. Yes, I'm fine. I won't be sick again. This happened some
めっちゃ
days.
水持ってきて。
I'm pregnant. It's morning sickness. No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant.
音楽が違う。
Yes, that's my birthday. Not one of the big ones, but I guess you can see that. It was my birthday, like you said. We were going to have a meal at home. We had our meal. He gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present. From when I woke up. Okay. I woke up. Simon was already up and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake, children sang me happy birthday. Then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. It turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left. A police station. Yeah. When I was young, we ran away on my birthday. Bob Dylan was playing in London and we thought we could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off, I mean, we'd saved money, pinched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve. So my parents let me off. I think it was that time, the first time at the house, in his bed, that I got pregnant. Amazing,
さっき聞いた。
This fucking magic sperm. And they say lightning doesn't strike twice. I didn't tell him. I missed 3 periods. I had pretty irregular periods anyway, but 3. I had always thought we were infertile. Both of us. I didn't tell him. Just waited. Hannah and I were meeting for our birthday and I told her because I thought she would be happy for us both. I think she was. Yes, I read a lot as a child and
まだいろい
watched
ろあ
lots
る
of
な。
TV. Then the doll's house we had, we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to play up there and make up our own stories. Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there?
畑の話。
She recognized me from the window. She told me to come inside and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. There was a dollhouse. She hid me up there. No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place. I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. I don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it. I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows. We spent hours and hours playing in it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all, passports, diaries, and gave them all really elaborate stories. Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough. We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights.
RNA ライバルの動画死ぬほど動画
No.
減る気がしない
That's my thing. I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. Helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page. Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
7月3日の動画これ全部見るのが目的なのかな
Florence was a warm, kind person. But she was broken, I guess. When I found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it. Older papers, letters, that kind of thing. Her story wasn't there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand. I guess I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. She never felt like she could marry again. Isn't that strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, you married for life and she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow. Honour the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know. When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street.
どういうこと
「
らがなじゃないと通らないのをやめてくれやな。さて。わあ、これ超怖いな。
What are you doing talking about Eve? Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. My mum was amazed.
違う。メモ帳がアクティブになってた。
No, it was just me and her. Eve was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when he came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember, that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week.
あれこれ調べたけどな。調べてあった。
No. The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow, so we were separated again. I stayed in the attic. It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognized me, I started wearing a wig. Hannah and I would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant, but I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers, drunk guys I'd met in clubs, parks and alleyways. I was 17. It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD. When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. I found it hard to look sometimes. We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan. Hannah had a miscarriage. This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile. Felt like the universe had corrected its course. We were aligned again. But Hannah and Simon were still living with his parents. They were married. Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Eric had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then...
あれ？病院を行ってみた結果、見てないな。妊娠タバコ。
Asked the hospital.
必要かこれ。
I don't see how it's hard. We've established I was in Glasgow when he was killed. You've spoken with the hospital? It's like I told you before. I drove. I took the car and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back. I had decided that she was more important to me than Simon. No. The whole thing was wrong. The bags, I think they were from our kitchen. You can probably check that. We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need. Dad used to grow mushrooms there.
Shiitake.
The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours.
私たちのガムテ。パンダ。なんだぞ。
Well,
ことなんだ。
fine, considering. I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people have been there through my things. It's like I've been burgled. I mean, worse, obviously. I don't know. I haven't looked in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in. As good as new, he said. But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out. And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral. It's going to be a cremation. So,
さて、まだ何かありそうだけどな。鏡。
bruise. I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes. I don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already told the other policeman. I found the body. Really? Okay. Here's the rest. Oh, they laid a body on the doctor. Oh, the wind and the rain. Till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow of her long hair. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs of her finger bows. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made fiddle pegs from her finger bows. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Oh, the wind and rain. The sound could pierce a heart of stone. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. But the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you. Yeah, when I was at school. I worked part-time in the front shop. It was sort of an extended family thing. My dad used to work there, my mum worked there before I was born. I took care of paperwork, filing, typing out invoices, that kind of thing. It was a good job for a girl back then. I didn't work a till or anything though. I was quite shy, so I wouldn't have liked to have worked a till. Bruise? Oh yeah, no, it's nothing. I was going through the top cupboard in my kitchen and the chair slipped and I kind of hit the door with my face. I mean, it hurt like hell. If one of us got hurt, the other one would have to be hurt too. A grazed knee, a bruise. When I lost my tooth first, we had to pull our harness to match. Once, I slept with a boy who was seeing another girl. The girlfriend came up to Hannah the next day and punched her in the face, gave her a huge black eye. That night, she had to do the same to me. But she almost went too far. I couldn't see out of that eye for days. She snapped a frozen piece up for me from the kitchen. So much of our bodies was synchronised anyway. We started our period on the same day. All our childhood diseases, stomach bugs, nits. Rehearsed? You ask me the same question, you'll get the same answer. Is that your evidence? Of course I thought about what happened then. It's all I've thought about. My husband is dead. No, it's okay. The other detective has just gone to get me mum. Must think it's very cool that their dad is a police detective.
気になるな。
A wig? You mean... what type of wig? No, I've never worn a wig. What kind of wig? Nine, about 9. I went round and she was waiting for me. She was furious and so angry. The kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other, argued, cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig on from performing, she tore it off. Eventually, we grew tired of fighting and I left. Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. I bought a photo. It's a spring photo. This was taken last year on holiday in Rome. It's the best one I have.
あれあった。ちょいちょいマウスカーソルがどっか行く。
I thought it made me sound suspicious. It's not a normal thing to do to drive to the other end of the country. I wanted to keep it simple. I know it was stupid not to tell you everything. Saying I spent the night in Glasgow when my husband went missing, I thought it would, distract you from what was important. It's different now. Now he's...
あとはこの周りかな。
Florence took me home with her. Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion. Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight. It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing. I never knew any different. I grew up looking out of my window and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror. She was me.
「来ましたね」なんだろう。開かなきゃよかったかな。触らってなん。
I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name. Twins? Really? Are you really asking me that question? Are you out of your mind? Twins? There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had a pride of place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad,
もうちょっと何かありそうだけどな。
her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
まだこんなに見てない動画あるけど。SP ってながらダメなんだい。S&B がわからないのは
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
終わっちゃっていいのかな。
What did your wife do? She didn't kill you. You think I killed Simon because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even there. I was in Glasgow worrying about whether my baby was still growing inside me. I mean, why would I kill Simon? I loved him. crying, I guess. She's sad because she thought she saw her husband with another woman. But it's okay, because she finds out it wasn't her husband, it was his brother. And so it's fine. An
ど
affair.
ういうこっちゃ。
Simon wasn't having an affair. No, I have never been unfaithful. I've never cheated on Simon. Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday. Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other. Life isn't a fairy tale. You do what you can. No, he was as shy as me. I asked a friend to ask him out for me. We had our first date at the Odeon in North End. We went to see Risky Business. I had on my one best dress. Simon paid. He bought me a whisper, and I was worried about getting chocolate on my teeth. No, not drugs. I mean, he drinks, but never very much. He goes to the pub and has one or two. Sometimes we go together. He drinks wine with food, but no, he doesn't have any kind of drinking problem.
これ以上は何もないかな。
I did.
とりあえずゲームクリアでき
Remember
る
we
って
were
ことみたい
17,
だ
both
な。
working at the glaciers.
終わった。お話はよくわかったけど、終わっていいんだろうか。ボーイズが強いな。 今日のテレビは正常です。何か書いてあったな。
Silverleaf? No. He normally silvers them properly. This mirror, it's supposed to look antique. The reflection isn't as good. It's the perfect mirror for someone who doesn't like to look at their own reflection.
ああ、そっか。もしかして。適当に一個見られるのか。
I don't know. Could be anyone. Maybe someone followed him back from the pub. But why would he let them in? Doesn't make sense.
全部埋めてもいいけどね。
No.
なんじゃこりゃ。見たことあるのモデルから。
We got married when I was 17. I wanted to see my reflection. I thought that if I touched her, something would happen. We would become one. One girl. The fairy tale was over, the witch was dead, and I'd be restored to my rightful place.
「黄色くなってるデータ」。これなんだろうね。
No. I mean, yes, we have arguments, but he never runs off. He always comes back. We make up. It's always that way. I sleep on the right side of the bed as you come in from the door. You can tell because I have two pillows and he just has one. No, he doesn't have any tattoos. He has a scar down here near his stomach, past his hip. Cut himself
すごい
with
け
some
ど騙
glass.
され。
That was before, a long time ago. He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here though. He takes them off for the camera. But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not book so much, or watching TV. He likes TV.
「清い波直近で見たやつか」。黄色いやつは直近で見た。
I remember the ticket, of course. I paid it without telling Simon. Didn't want to get told off. And they put points on the license. That can't be right. In the bedroom. In the bedroom. Yeah.
こいつ、もっともベッドの話してんの。
Thinking it was flu or something. The neighbour called me. I had to use my key to let them in. We found them dead in their bed. And they'd been there for days. No one had noticed. Just awful. It was so soon after my miscarriage. The worst year of my life. I'd been so happy to get married, and after that it was just like, fuck. Yeah. I mean, I was infertile. Thought I was. They told me I was infertile after miscarriage because of complications. Could I have a cup of tea? Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
こういうリストを埋めること自体は嫌いじゃないけどね。全部読めたら何か起きるのかな？
Silly thing. Leather. Real leather, I think. He packs it full of stuff. Business cards, receipts, lottery tickets. He always carries it in his back pocket. I think that's why he's got a bad back. He sets the discs. I haven't seen it, so he must have it on him. He always takes it out of his back pocket before, when he comes in, if he's in the house. Yes. He left after the argument. It was about 8 o'clock. There's married couple stuff. A stupid argument, nothing specific. No one knows how to push your buttons better than those you're close to. We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday. Childhood sweethearts.
完全に作業です。
Are you married, detective? I guess you could call it that, but we were both happy to get married. It was a beautiful wedding. We had our first dance to come back and stay. I'm not sure if that's a good wedding song, but I loved it. I chose it. I mean, it was genuinely our first dance. We'd never danced together before. It was probably awful to watch, but I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just me and Simon for that moment. Just the two of us.
どうすっかな？
Mother wanted me to grow my hair long, but I kept cutting it myself. I wanted to look like my reflection. She always had short hair when she was little. Mother would hide the scissors, but
全
I
部
would
見るのも
find a way.
もったいない気がする。
Cut it with a bread knife, something like that. My reflection would always leave her house and go on adventures, but I never could. Mother taught me at home, and I had books and TV. Oh, TV was magical, but it was only on when it wanted to be, so I spent a lot of time reading books. No. I mean, everyone loves Simon. He was so nice to everyone. He loves me.
いっぱい買うのあるしな。いっぱい数があるし。このゲームだけなんか気になるけど。ここまでにしとくか。他にもいろいろ動画あると思うので、自分で買って遊んでみて。200円ぐらいですからね。あれ、まだ1時間しか入ってない。他のゲームやるか。お疲れ様です。